Well, hey, St. Matthew and Facebook friends, welcome to another Point from the Park. Today we are at Ostrander Park. It's on 40th, right across kind of from First Lutheran Church. It is named for Ava Ostrander. Ava was the first female city council member. Columbiates began in 1921, and at that time there were three male city council members, Mr. Prestamon, Mr. Gavet, and Mr. McKenna. And all three of those guys have parks in Columbia Heights, and we'll be visiting their parks in the weeks ahead. But today we're at Ava Ostrander's Park. Columbia Heights began in 1921. As I said, 1924, though, there was another election. And Ava Ostrander ran in that election, and she won, and she became the first female city council member. So we are at her park. And our verse today comes from 2 Corinthians 5:7. It's a very short verse. Paul writes to the Corinthians, "For we live by faith, not by sight." Some translations say we walk by faith, not by sight. Very timely for us right now. You know, Paul has been talking about in the first 6 verses of this chapter just how temporary everything we see is. And he talks about how our body is like a tent. You know, we're just camping out here. This is temporary. I remember when Brenda and I left for 4 years of seminary in 1992, we had moved out of a big apartment in Memphis into this tiny, tiny little apartment in St. Louis. We had quit our jobs, we'd sold a bunch of stuff, and I remember my pastor at the time, Jeff Stevens, saying, "You guys like to camp. Just think of it as camping out for 4 years." And I got to tell you, when I first heard those words, they just weren't all that helpful. But as that time in seminary went by, and we went through various challenges, I found myself recalling those words of his again and again. You're just camping out. You know, this is temporary. Think about what we're going through right now with coronavirus and shelter in place and quarantine and online school and not getting to go to movies or sporting events. And it's all temporary. It's all temporary. And we can't see the end of it. The end of this is not in sight. We can't pick a day and say, all right, this is the day. I can take my spouse out to dinner again and sit in a nice restaurant. This is a day that I can go to the Twins game. Here's the day when we'll go back to school, or the quarantine will end, or the shelter in place will end. We can't see the end. And so while we can't walk by sight, we walk by faith. We walk by faith in a God who loves us perfectly, and a God who is walking through all of this with us. Remember, we don't look for God at the start of the coronavirus. He didn't start it. We look for God in the middle of it, walking at our side, redeeming it, transforming us, using us to be a blessing in the world. So we walk by faith. Even when we can't see the end of what's coming, we walk by faith. So that's it for our points from the park today. I'm going to do another one right away tomorrow. I'm going to go over to Ramsdale Park, and we're going to look at tomorrow's verse from there. So we'll see you then. Have a great day.